What would the panel like to say to the many unaccompanied refugee children in Europe who are now affected by the curtailment of the DUB scheme?
The DUB scheme being the scheme to bring unaccompanied children into the UK. 200 have been brought in. They're going to only take 150 more. And originally it was going to be something like 3,000. So yesterday it was suddenly curtailed. Billy Bragg.
Well, Tony Benn once said that the way that the government treats refugees is very instructive, because it's the way they would treat the rest of us if they had half the chance. I think it seems to me to be a week where the debate in this country has been somewhat coarsened in the way that we've seen recently in the United States of America. Trying to get rid of John Bercow because he spoke out, the Prime Minister accusing Jeremy Corbyn of using alternative facts. And this seems to be part and parcel of this harshness. I mean, we have a duty to take in refugees from around the world. And I think that particularly these young people, because they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. We lent on the French government to clear the Calais jungle. These people are stuck there. They've got nowhere to go. They can't go back where they came from. They can't assimilate into France. We've said, our government has said that, and we've undertaken, thankfully to the Dubs Amendment, and Alf Dubs was himself a child refugee, that we would take them in. And I think it says something about a coarseness of the debate that's going on about the moment in our country. You know, we have some real thinking to do in the coming years, not just about Article 50 or whether we want to stay in a single market or to join the economic area. We have to ask ourselves, what kind of people are we? Are we going to turn away? Okay. Are we going to turn away from our responsibilities to the world, or are we going to step up and do what we said we would do and take all 3,000 of these refugee children?
All right. I actually talked to the Home Secretary about this yesterday, and just to clarify, there was never a number made. What the government committed to was to make sure every child that came, who may have gone through the most horrific situation, would be given as much support as they could possibly have in the local councils. And the local councils have come back and said, this is the number we feel we can support.
But the original Immigration Act of 2016 did state that we would take 3,000 child refugees.
All councils are saying is that at the moment they feel they have reached a point beyond which they don't want further burdens.
I rang my council leader tonight, assuming we might be asked about this, and asked Rhondda Cynon Taff Council in South Wales how many of these children they've been asked to take. They've taken 4. They could take 4 or 5 times that. They've not been been asked to take any of the vulnerable families. I do not believe for a minute that it is true that the councils are ringing up the Home Office saying they can't afford to take any more. It certainly isn't true of my council. There was a number that was talked about. 3,000 was very widely understood to be the number we hope to take as a result of the concession that we had to ring out to the government, kicking and screaming several months ago. And they are reneging on the promise they made. There are 90,000 unaccompanied children in Europe fleeing persecution, and we need to live up to the values of this country. Billy again is right. We've got to make some decisions about what sort of a country we want.
Yes, checking the allegation that Owen has made is clearly desirable. You in the middle. Let's hear some members of our audience. You with spectacles in the back row there. Yes.
In the run-up to World War II, we took up to 10,000 Jewish children unaccompanied. Why can't we do similar numbers now? It was a moment of pride for our country, and yet we are saying only 350. Okay. And we didn't have the resources then that we have now. We were about to enter a world war, and we knew we were. And we're not about to enter a world war now. Why can't we take on more children?
No, can I yes. The kids in the Kinder's transport were actually fleeing almost certain death, murder by the state. That is quite different to the situation we've got in Europe at the moment.
Children leaving Syria.
Listen, no.
These are children who are leaving.
It is not just Syria. It is absolutely not just Syria. I think that the point is, I would agree that this particular thing with the children and the Dubs children is harsh, but there's no point in starting to make general comments about Britain's harshness. We are not a harsh country. We are a very compassionate country.
Is it not completely wrong that Theresa May is willing to turn her back on child refugees, but is willing to lay out the red carpet for someone who is divisive and
we might come to that later.
The council asked for volunteers to help with settling young children, refugee children, and now they've told us that they're inundated with volunteers to help, and they haven't got any children.
Which council is that?
In Devon.
The Devon County
council?
Council? Yeah. Really? So that's the second. Well, obviously that 2 points have been raised of great importance that need checking.